Well, hello, my name is Jim Royal. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan, and there'll be many more videos like this to come. Today, though, I wanted to share with you my very first impressions of the new Paul McCartney album called Egypt Station. It came out today on Friday, September 7th, 2018. I went over to Target because they have a very exclusive 2 extra songs on there you can't get anywhere else. So all in all, there are 18 songs on this, and you have 64 minutes worth of music. This was released on Capitol Records. He's back on Capitol. He was with Capitol as a Beatle, and he last was on Capitol with Chaos and Creation back in '05. This album was produced by Greg Kurstin, except there was one song called For You, which was produced by Ryan Tedder. That song was also co-written with Ryan. Everything else, though, was written by Paul McCartney by himself. What I did is when I came home today, I took some notes. I put this in my CD player, listened to it one time, and this right here are the notes that I have based on what I thought about the album. So I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to do a lot of reading, but hopefully you'll find this interesting. And it'll give you a decision whether or not you feel you should buy this album, or at least take into consideration what I thought about it. At the end, I will give you my rating. And why don't we get going? So the album cover was a painting that Paul had done back in 1988 called Egypt Station. He liked it so much, that title, he says when he was working on this record, that he decided, you know what, I think that would make a great album title, and it stuck, and this is what it is, and I thought he's done a great job. The song Opening Station starts off the album, and Paul referred to this album as a concept album, like a Sgt. Pepper. I wrote in here for the opening, the 40 seconds of this song, that it is Sgt. Pepper type intro, heavenly dreamlike soundscape. And he also refers to it as a soundscape. Very heavenly. You know, there's a part in there, and to me it's like, you know, you go into a train station or a bus station, you get ready to depart and go on your journey, and this is where the album starts, and then it takes you through that journey. You get to listen to this album, and I think that's what he was trying to do with it. The next song is called I Don't Know. This was a double A-sided single released in June with Come On To Me, and I Don't Know is a nice piano ballad. Paul says that John Lennon would have liked it. One of the lines in here is, "What is he doing wrong?" And I'd say that it is one of the few songs, though, where Paul's voice, him aging, is beginning to show. I would say it's the only song on this album. I have no issues whatsoever with his voice on here. He just did a great job with it, but this is the only one where it is showing a little bit. And the next song is called Come On To Me. Now, Come On To Me, I do have a confession. I have heard this before. I've heard this in a public setting in a store, probably close to 10 times, but it's background music. It's not something that, you know, I'm able to pay attention to, as you know, when you're out in public. And I did hear a 30-second snippet of I Don't Know and the song For You, but not enough to really form an opinion until right now when I listened to it all the way through. My first impressions. Come On To You is my favorite song on the album. I think it would make a wonderful greatest hit for Paul. As I wrote, I said pop, fun, up-tempo. I love the horn arrangement with the Abbey Road sounding bass. I believe this best represents the sound of the album throughout. It's polished yet rough sounding, and as I wrote, layered with instruments, fullness. There's a fullness on it, and I think that's basically sums up the whole album. Fun backing vocals. The song is a fictional account of him in his youth in the 60s being at a nightclub and he's picking up somebody. This is before he was married. I was thinking, you know, Paul, you're in your 70s. What are you doing writing these kind of songs now? But he explains it was from his past. Love it. I mean, this is just my favorite song. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you like this song, you're going to like the album. If you don't care for this song, then you probably won't think of this album as highly as I do. Alright, song number 4 is called Happy With You. I wrote guitar on here, Revolver, Beatle era sound, elements of it. Like Here, There, and Everywhere. I'm not saying it sounds exactly like it. I'm just saying it has that sound from that period. And that is a plus that I like with it. Song number 5 is called Who Cares? It is a medium rocker. I wrote great bass. One of the lines in here, he keeps repeating, who cares what the idiots say? Keeps repeating that. And then he says at one point, he's saying that, you know, he cares about you. And in the line he says, I do. Now I also wrote that the lead guitar sound that is heard in this song is similar to me to the Go-Go's, I believe it's called Our Lips Are Sealed, that single. There's a guitar part in there at one point in the song. So I felt it sounded similar, and that's what I wanted to say. What he's doing is it's like he's taking different things. He's not plagiarizing. He's not like, okay, I'm going to copy this or do this. He's not doing that. But it's like he's getting different inspiration throughout his years, his many years as a Beatle, solo, different musical experiences, and he's incorporating different things in here, and he's making them work, and he's making them sound like they're his. And that's what I like a lot about it. The next song is song number 6. It's called For You. And this one, to me, I believe it was supposed to be written as For You. It sounds like Fixing a Hole from Sgt. Pepper a little bit, that kind of style. I wrote chorus of singers, strings, and then it also, part of it sounds like the Verbs' Bittersweet Symphony, that song, parts of it from, it was a big song from the 90s. I like it though, I think it works. I think they made a lot out of it. I can understand why they did, but when I listen to it, I only listened to it one time. The For You doesn't really bother me. I kind of think of it in my mind like he's saying for you. You know, I steal and I do these things for you. Alright, song number 7 is called Confidant. And this is an acoustic guitar, medium tempo. He said that it was owed to his guitar from the Beatle days. I believe it was a Martin. And I thought that this song was similar to a song from Tug of War called Somebody Who Cares. In the fact that at one point during the guitar break, you have the guitar being given a chance to be the vocal part. And that's what I like about it. It's almost like he's talking to a lost love, but he's not. He's talking to his guitar. And he says, fell out of love with you, told you every secret. And then he has a line in here called Butterflies Wear Army Boots. So it's almost like that. And I think what he's trying to say is that at one time he played this guitar all the time, you know, in his more youthful days. And maybe he stepped away from it for a while. I don't know. And the other thing too, he also said when he writes songs, it's a very personal thing. He goes in a private area, he does it by himself, just him and his guitar. And he's putting his, in some cases, his innermost thoughts out there. So just him and his guitar are there. Confidant is a really nice song though. I like it a lot. People Want Peace is song number 8. This that he wrote after a visit to Israel and Palestine. There was a group there, a peaceful movement. They wanted peace. That's what they wanted. And he liked it so much, he's used this theme many a time in the 60s with the Beatles and even afterwards. And he decided to write a nice song about it. It's a good piano song. I wrote nice harmony vocals and Ringo-style drums. Later in the song, there's marching drums in the parade. And then there's also like a chorus of voices that are going along with him on this People Want Peace that are chanting. And it's a nice song. I think it's a nice it's nice. There's different themes on this album. It's not all just the same thing, and I think that this is a good way of tackling a real important issue. All right, song number 9 is called Hand in Hand, and I put an asterisk by it like I did Come On To Me, meaning that I thought it kind of stood out more. It was more of a favorite song for me for whatever reason. This is a love song on piano to Nancy, his current wife. It was written, he said, early in their relationship. Some of the lines are walking through life, dreams can come true, and he talks about spending a life together. And you know, it's referring hand in hand. He also in the song is telling her of his story, maybe who he is as a person, and they make plans. And I believe it's a song about getting married. There's a flute in there, or what sounds like a flute, in the middle 8, and I think it's just tastefully done. I like it a lot. All right, song number 10 is called Dominoes. This is classic sounding Paul McCartney. I believe it should be a single, and I think that it will probably be a greatest hit of his, or at least thought of that way. In the song, people are referred to as dominoes, how, you know, you touch one domino and then all of them go down. There's some symbolism there. And I also wrote that the backing vocals sound a little like ELO / Jeff Lynne. Nice bass. And then I like how he does these vocal noises. Paul has done this as a Beatle and even solo. Like a ch-ch-ch-ch-ch, like a choo-choo train, you know, choo-choo. He's not saying choo-choo, but he's doing choo-choo-choo. It's fun, and it's a great song. It sounds like classic McCartney. And then there's a wild lead guitar at the end. All right, song number 11 is called Back in Brazil. You know, I was surprised listening to this album because I was thinking, you know, I'm waiting for a stinker. I'm waiting for a dud. You know, a lot of times with an album, if it's not a Beatle album, you know, there's always something on there. You know, you're like, okay, you know, you just kind of go along with it. You still, you know, love the artist, but some songs have to grow on you. And I have to say that with all this album, I like every single song. I think all of them are good songs. And Back in Brazil is no exception. It is also a good song. I wrote cool keyboard. Intro tells the fictional story of a girl and a guy meeting in Brazil, enjoying the nightlife, and then during the day they enjoy the sun. I wrote flute sounds / keyboards, and I also thought that there are echoes of Linda McCartney sounding backing vocals. Very dreamy ending, and I think he just did a really nice job with it. You know, this album, it just doesn't sound the same. He's able to put different sounds in there and keeps it where it's exciting. It doesn't drag at all. For something that's 64 minutes, this album does not drag. What I did listening to it, my first impression, I kept kind of holding tight. Well, what's going to happen next? What's going to be next? You know, and I'm like, I really like that song. All right, the next song, song number 12, is called Do It Now. Paul's father would often say this. It's a piano song. Some of the lines are, while the vision is clear, while the feeling is here, do it now. And I wrote Beach Boys style, backing vocals with strings, and I also said elements of Sgt. Pepper style are also in this. Song number 13 is called Caesar Rock. I wrote rocker, most sounding improvised song, heavier for Paul. Very homegrown, like in the studio, but polished, and there's a lot going on in the background. I wrote that it's almost like letting Paul be unleashed in the studio and giving him freedom and full reign to do whatever he wants with the song, his way. Nice bass, fun backing vocals. And I also wrote the music I felt was more important than the words. The words aren't bad, but I thought that the music was like the main thing here. And that's the thing with the lyrics. Sometimes Paul's lyrics, they're not always his best, in my opinion, on some of his solo albums. But there are some good lyrics in here, no doubt, on this album, but it's not taken as serious. But it's very polished and it's done very well. And Caesar Rock just looks like he's having fun, like I think he really is with this whole album. I think he's just having a great time. And that's what I like most about it. All right, song number 14, I wrote an asterisk by it, meaning I kind of thought a little higher of it. Despite Repeated Warnings is the song. It's a piano song at the beginning, and he's talking about a captain on a ship, you know, like the Titanic. He has talked about in an interview regarding it, and comparing it to world leaders ignoring the signs of global warming. So it's like you're the captain of that sinking ship, the Titanic, and you feel, you know, you're doing it your way, it's the right way, you're not listening to what anybody tells you. As he says, the politician has his own agenda on a collision course. And then there's an up-tempo second part on here, and there's lines like, lock him up, save the ship, what can we do? And he's talking about red skies, you know, like sailors would talk about. And at the same time, you know, it's talking about, you know, wanting to save the world is really what I think it is. And also the will of the people, you know, not just what the politician wants, but it should be the will of the people. And I wrote that it sounds similar, the idea of it, like Dress Me Up as a Robber, the song from Tug of War, regarding the tempo changes, because it does it a few times. So it doesn't sound exactly like it, but it's the idea. And I like that too. Alright, song number 15 is called Station 2. This is similar to the opening, except not as heavenly. It's a soundscape again, I wrote. You hear horns like pulling into a station. So at this point your journey's almost over with. You're getting ready to get out of the station and go home. Alright, song number 16 is actually 3 songs. It's a medley. And as I wrote, it turns into a lighthearted Abbey Road Side B medley. It has Hunt You Down is the first song, and then Naked, and then a song called Sea Link. Hunt You Down is kind of fun because it's an up-tempo guitar song with horns. It's fun. And then you have this song Naked afterward. And then Naked is typical Paul McCartney. It's a piano song. He has a line in there, says he's always taken for his younger brother, which I thought was kind of funny. So he's saying that a few times in the song. And then it goes back into Hunt You Down. But it's done really well. And then you have this instrumental which closes what would be the album if, you know, you don't have the Target bonus songs. And it's a song called Sea Link. And I wrote Guitar Fantasy describing the song. Paul's on lead guitar, and he's playing it, and there's lead guitar and then there's strings. And I believe that the style is very similar to his guitar playing on his first solo album called McCartney. He played all the guitar on that, and I know he has through the years, but this is very similar in style to that. And it was really good. Alright, and you know, that's the thing with Paul. Even if it's a simple thing, even if it's not real complicated like some of these songs are, the way that he is able to put them together, to polish them, he layers these songs, and they just turn out just being a lot of fun. Alright, well there are 2 more songs if you have the Target one, and I was really surprised. I thought, okay, now we're up to the Target bonus tracks. You know, you knew that they threw them in there just so, you know, Target has something exclusive so you can go and buy that. They might not fit or gel well on this album. They're extra. They're thrown on at the end. Well, I am happy to say that they very much fit and do a great job being a part of this whole album. The first song, song 17, is Get Started, and then song 18 is Nothing for Free. Get Started is a love song, nice sounding, positive message about get going and doing something. Just as strong as the rest of the album. It is an acoustic number, I noted. And he's talking about it being a love song, about, you know, going for it. You know, if you love, in this case, you know, he loves someone and it sounds like just go for it. And I like the line in here, get started before the dearly departed have the final word. So before you are no longer living and breathing, do something. Get started, get going. And I love that. And I also wrote notes in here that this was Revolver sounding, the guitar work / Traveling Wilburys. I know he wasn't in the Wilburys, but I thought it was great. I thought it was just a lot of fun. All right, the next song is called Nothing for Free. I wrote futuristic McCartney, most experimental of all the songs on the album, very contemporary, though his McCartney's sound is throughout it. So it's not like, you know, he's borrowing it or it's taken from somewhere else. He's able to make it his. It's a dance type music. It's up-tempo, great bass, and I like it how they put his voice in a filter. I thought they did a good job for this. It was just a lot of fun. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would I rate this album? I would give it a 10. I would say that it is the most fun McCartney album I have ever heard. It's not a classic in the sense of Band on the Run or Tug of War. I think it's an A+ production. I think it's polished, yet rough sounding. I like the fullness about it. And I just thought that it was just a lot of fun. That's what I left. My first impressions was I wasn't too sure what it was going to be. It was fun at the beginning and it was fun throughout. It didn't drag like some records do. I didn't have to get used to it. I can only imagine how it's going to be as I listen to it with repeated listens. So, like I said, it's not a classic in the sense of what some of you may be thinking, but I think it just does a great job. It's Paul having fun, and you know, he enjoys himself. He's enjoying recording this album. You know, he talks about in an interview how he likes to just still plug in an amplifier and just play. He loves that, and you can tell, you know, regardless of how old this man is now 76, that he has just a love for this, and that's why he still does it. Well, thank you very much for watching, and you have a very nice day. Take care.